sandwich in the morning. And the thing about being in a wheelchair is you get all these people who, if you're physically disabled, they tend to think you're mentally disabled. So you're sitting there in your wheelchair and they go, alright, hello. So I used to sit there with my cup of tea and yeah, alright, fine, yeah. Which caused a bit of a stir with the tea ladies, but it was good fun. But eventually, I'll say one thing for the nurses, they did eventually get me up and walking again, because I used to try and get out of my wheelchair and get back into the bed and I couldn't, and they had to give me a hand, you know, and they said one day, look, we're too busy, we've got a meeting, you'll just have to wait. And I sat there in this wheelchair, my backside was aching, I was really sore, I just wanted to get out of the place, you know. And in desperation, I got right up to the side of the bed, leaned over and grabbed hold to the bedclothes and pulled myself onto the bed. And I thought, great, at least I can relax now. And the nurses came and said, there you go, I told you could do it if you tried hard enough. I thought, you sod. I said, you've done that on purpose, haven't you? She says, well, you wouldn't do it if we kept telling you so. The only way was to actually force you into it, you know, by getting you to do silly things like that. But damn it, they used to do all sorts of things to me, and they used to have a laugh with me as much as anybody else. And I got, you know, I used to like my pint occasionally, and of course I was missing that in hospital. So I had a word with the consultant, and I said, you know, is there any reason I can't drink? She said, none that I know of. Why? He says, well, are you allowed alcohol in the hospital? He says, well, in moderation, yes. So I said, fine. So every time I had visitors, you know, I said, look, forget the flowers, forget the grapes, a six-pack. So that was it. From that moment onwards, everybody was bringing me beer in. So storing it all in the fridge in the hospital kitchen, as you see, in the ward kitchen. And every so often the nurses said, can you drink a bit of this? We can't get in our fridge, you know. So we would like a little bit of space left for ourselves, you know. And of course it was throughout the summer. So I spent a lot of time going outside, you know, soaking up the sun in my wheelchair. With me pack a beer down by my side, you know, a couple of sandwiches, and that was it. And if ever the consultant wanted me or anything, so he's probably outside somewhere, enjoying himself. And they could never actually find me on the ward. And the classic was one day when I went for a trip around the hospital grounds, and I got stuck. I went off the edge of this curb in a wheelchair, and I couldn't get back up again. And I was stuck in this car park right around the back, and there was nobody there at all. And they were searching for me in hospital. Nobody knew where I was. They thought, oh, I'll just wander off somewhere. And eventually a workman saw me down there and get me out and get back onto the up the curb and back onto the path. But they'd even gone to the extent of phoning the local pub to see if I'd gone for a drink, because they knew I liked going out for a drink. And that was a classic. That was. So I thought, well, if you're going to do that, I may as well start going for a drink. So after that, I used to let them know. So I'm just popping down the pub tonight for a pint. Yeah, so fine, just don't come back singing Nelly Dean, will you? You know, we don't want that on the ward. Thanks very much. Yeah. But no, we had some fun with some old fellas in there as well. They were great. Some of the old lads, you know, they haven't got a lot of time left, so I used to help them out as much as I can, you know. Try to make life comfortable for them and tell them a few stories, things like that. And I told the nurses a few stories as well. I used to come down for evening entertainment, because they got bored late at night because there was not a lot to do. So you know, and I didn't sleep a lot anyway. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning when I went to sleep. So they used to come down and sit on the end of the bed and have a chat, and we got a little television side of the bed or radio, and sit either watching a late night film or something like that. And I would have a great time. And they used to give me my medication at 1 o'clock in the morning. I had to have somebody with the rubber gloves on and the suppository